Welcome to the CEN Second Take Sports Talk with host Ronnie Roberts, and I'm your moderator, Roski Mascani, and we have Brother Rick here with us, and we've been doing this. I think this is the fourth episode, and it's been really, really informative with host Ronnie Roberts and also the participants that come. So we've been having a very informative sports analysis. So we're going to get started with Brother Ronnie. Brother Ronnie, take over.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the CN Sports Take, Second Take show. We've been primarily concentrating our sports analysis on nothing but NBA playoffs right now. And talking about NBA legends, all-time greats and whatnot. But the focus is now dead on the playoffs. We're down to the last three teams. Indiana and New York just kicked off. They're playing in New York tonight. I look for the Knicks to put up a valiant effort, but fall short. It's a numbers game, and I don't know. I think Cat is a little dinged up, and it's a really bad matchup for the Knicks. In kind of way, they probably would have. They had more success with Boston because they kind of play alike. The Knicks, so the Pacers are a young team and deep team, playing 9-10 players on a regular basis. They had 8 guys averaging double figures during the season. 8 guys get over 15 minutes a game, 15, 20 minutes a game. That's pretty groundbreaking when you compare it to a team like, say, even the Lakers for that matter, with the lead guys getting heavy minutes, all 35 plus, like the Knicks are, all 5 Knicks starters are averaging over 35 points minutes a game. That's just really tough. Your superstars usually can do that, but the superstars on their team's a little older. Brunson is close to 30. I'm sure Cat is about 30. Bridges and Boy are all late 20s. It makes a little difference on the older guys running them like that. The way Jalen Brunson plays, and we've been applauding his efforts and his game consistently throughout this broadcast. He's shown me something that I didn't know that he had. I knew he was a really, really good player, but as a closer, he bought his own risk, really being a great player. Absolutely. But as the playoffs will do to most any good team, the other team is going to attack what your perceived weaknesses are. And as they call him Big Body Brunson, and I don't know why they call him that, because I don't think he weighs about 200 pounds. 6 feet, maybe 215. But 6'2", but he's a target on defense. They eat him alive. Put him and Cat in a pick and roll, you will feast, because Cat's weak on defense as well. So what teams have risen to the top? All of the old teams who have questionable defense, gone at home. And now we've got the Knicks, which couldn't classify the Knicks as an old team, semi-old team, compared to the Thunder and the Pacers. But these young squads are deep, and they play deep, and they have a variety of offensive weapons. And the key with them is when they go to the bench, it's just not a significant drop-off. You look at the older teams that are left in the league, and that's the Warriors, the Lakers, the Suns. When they go to the bench, it's a significant drop-off. The same with the Bucks. They just don't go deep well. And the way they run in the NBA nowadays, you need to have a deep bench. And a team that's known for playing defense. Make a long story short, we'd all talked about the prowess of the Thunder at the beginning of the season. I'm a Thunder fan. I've been to every one of these playoff games. Just seeing them grow before my very eyes has been just a revelation. I've had season tickets in some form for the last 4 years. They were kind of terrible the first two. Obviously, last year they really got it together, and now they're really, really clicking. They should win it all. From the beginning of the playoffs, I mean, we argued about the Lakers and the Warriors, some of the older teams that were still alive, of course, Boston. But from day one, at the beginning of the playoffs, Oklahoma City was safe. And day one, none of us on this panel thought they would win, including myself. And I've been watching them all year and watching them play these other teams. I've watched them play every team in the league. Well, to make a long story short, as much as talent wins in the NBA playoffs, health. And health bugaboo hit the defending champion smack dab in the mouth. One of the game's premier players, 4-time first team All-NBA, Jason Tatum, went down, end of story. But the other side of that coin was the Knicks were going to beat Boston with Tatum. And were on the way to beating them at any rate. I think they would have beat them. But be that as it may, because of the condition of Porzingis, Drew has a lingering injury. Brown's got a knee injury. Health just knocked them out the box. Same thing happened to Cleveland. Cleveland loses 2 starters, don't start in the first game. You got Evan Mobley and Darius Garland sitting out in the playoffs. You're not going to win. That's not going to happen. You're just not going to, not in a playoff scenario. You could do that. They could get a bye in the regular season with one of the lower ranked teams, but not when it gets down to the cream of the crop. Okay, make a long story short, Minnesota just destroyed our Lakers, as I kind of knew that they would because of lack of defense and a postman. And then were just equally destroyed by the Thunder. I didn't foresee that. Minnesota is one of the teams that had a even 500 record with the Thunder, 2-2. And we won there, they won here. We split the series at home. We did a home and home 2-2. They play us really, really, really tough every time we play them. But, you know, teams are different when they get into the playoffs and they get into a groove and get into a vibe. And then it's just about matchups, as we all talked about earlier. And the Thunder matched up well, really well with Memphis, obviously, who was under-talented. But with Minnesota, Denver, there were some people who said that was the NBA Finals. Denver, in any iteration with a healthy Jokic and Aaron Gordon and the rest, and Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. being healthy, could probably compete or beat both the teams left in the East, the Pacers and the Knicks, just because of Jokic himself. That's all speculation. The reality is we're down in Oklahoma City, and we think that the Pacers will overcome the Knicks. I don't know what you guys think, but it's kind of hard to come back from 3-1, particularly when you've lost 2 games at home. As I said before, the Las Vegas is always favored Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is 29-1 against the Eastern Conference. They swept 22 teams this year. They had 1 loss in the Eastern Conference, and that was in overtime at Cleveland when Cleveland was clicking and they had the best record in the league. Playoffs are a whole different ballgame, though. You know, there's already some talking about, okay, we're going to have the Pacers in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City will sweep. That's just pure nonsense to me. I just, you know, I don't think anybody can sweep in the finals. At least not these teams, but it might happen. Historically, we beat Indiana 2-0 this year and the Knicks 2-0, both times, home and away. Indiana has given us the blues since I've been back in Oklahoma City for 5 years. Because they're sort of a mirror image of us with a little less defense, but maybe as much offense. Because when they go to the bench, they got really good players coming off the bench, really good players. So my take on this thing is I'm glad my Thunder here, obviously, awaiting this game to end so we can get the final started, and hopefully next Thursday I'll be sitting in Paycom Center watching us versus the Pacers or the Knicks. Just really kind of geeked to hear what my man Rick has to say. above all. So Rick, please take off.
Yeah, the series, this Indiana New York series has been pretty interesting, pretty entertaining.
Shocking.
Um, and I know I had some criticisms of Carl Anthony Towns last time.
Valid.
The last game, I kind of like how he played harder at the basket.
Very good.
But he still, I mean, at his size against those guys, he should be. I mean, if you have to, try and bang on them every time. You're gonna go to the line, but he likes the pretty game too much. Exactly. He likes the pretty game too much. So
he can shoot it. He can really shoot it.
he can shoot. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was impressed how many he hit in the last game from behind the arc. But he need to put on that total game face. He had a pretty good game face this last game because they were in trouble. But a lot of times he doesn't wear a game face. And I still think a lot of times on defense, I think he's out of position. Sometimes he's worried about the big man behind him, and he'll let the guard penetrate and get a layup, the guard or the forward on the opposite side. Actually, on the side he's facing. So I think Carl Anthony Towns still has some learning to do. Miles Turner, I think, plays position D better than he does. But, I don't know if Miles Turner got a bad wheel or what. It looks like he got a bad wheel, but he's been playing with that bad wheel, seems like, for the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
But, I never, I thought about it. I never really watched a full OKC game. I knew what Shy could do, but I didn't know he could do what he's doing right now. This guy's shot is pretty much automatic, and he doesn't use a whole lot of energy. He has a great first step for a guy his size and not to have the muscular build. Of course, they do strength training, so that makes a difference. But to me, he's unstoppable.
Oh, completely.
That's going to be a problem for Indiana.
It's a problem for the whole league.
It's a problem for the whole league.
Yeah.
When I first seen Chet play, I didn't see what he's doing now. He can actually put the ball on the floor and get to the basket, and obviously he can block shots. I had concerns about how he played since he was so slim, but Chet can play ball.
He's a real deal.
Yeah.
He'll be the United States starting center for the next Olympics.
Oh, really?
Mark my word on that.
Okay.
He's that tough.
Yeah, Chet is not scared. And I don't know if any big heavy center could stay in front of him. I mean, they'll probably foul him going to the basket. But it's good to have a center that can dribble. Of course,
and shoot 38% from three.
But he's not over Chet is. What's that?
And he shoots 38% from three. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a good long ball.
Yeah, I actually like Chet. And then Williams, I like Williams' game as well. He seems like he got some confidence in him. So Hartenstein got that little one-hand floater, which is, I mean, He's completely confident with that shot. And if you don't get in front of it, he'll probably hit that every time. Indiana's going to have a hard time with these cats.
Yep.
And I was looking at Indiana. I'm looking at OKC right now. Yeah. I noticed some deficiencies in the last game. They kind of took Nimhard's heart, it seems like. He really didn't shoot that well. I consider him a great mid-range shooter, but they didn't give him that. He doesn't, for a guard, he doesn't have the foot quickness to. He couldn't even get past Brunson. So, and when the game is open, he's pretty key to opening it up some more.
Yeah,
but
he's a really good player too.
Yeah. So, it's funny. I didn't like Halliburton. I didn't really care for Halliburton being a point guard, but he got a triple double last game. But I think his ball handling is still slightly suspect. I don't think he's a perfect ball handler for a guy that's playing the one. And when he gets pressured too much, he picks the ball up. Whereas you're confident,
he's still getting
right. Your confident one will keep handling that ball and break the defense down.
Right.
But I've seen Halliburton give it up a couple of times. Of course, he gets it back, and then he has and sometimes when he gets it back, he got that open lane where he can attack.
Yeah.
Which helps him.
He's a really good player.
He's an excellent player.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see who's going to stick him. I mean, even if Dort or Shy sticks him, I think it'll be a little tougher for him because those guys are pretty long. Well, Shy is long, but Dort he got good height on him. I mean, pretty strong dude. So, but Halliburton, he has the talent, and I don't know. I just think you see the deficiency when they're up by 20 and then they give it up.
Yeah.
And of course you're playing against some guys that's ready to go. I mean, Brunson's ready to go. I mean, even something, he's just ready to go. But in the whole series, I did see some shots that they probably shouldn't have took. Some of the threes they took, they probably should have attacked the basket. Shows the mindset of a young player. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I'm liking OKC right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Do you think that we've seen the last of the old guys as far as championship?
Oh, you mean OKC?
Well, Kendrick Perkins made an interesting list today, and sometimes I have trouble agreeing with him. Sometimes I do. But the list was legit. He said that there are only 5 superstars in the NBA. Period. Did you see that? And
actually, I missed that.
Okay, well, it was interesting, and it was totally valid. May need to be more than 5, but he said it was Steph, LeBron, KD, Jokic, and Giannis. He said those are the only true superstars in the NBA. Now, we got another level, another tier, led by Shea, Luka, Jason Tatum. Who was the 4th guy? I know Halliburton was 5. And Ant-Man was 4. He had Shea, Luka, Tatum, Ant-Man, and Halliburton as the next 5. I don't have any, I can accept those numbers. I probably would. I don't know. I think I would put Donovan Mitchell ahead of Halliburton, quite frankly. He's a bad boy. I mean, a bad boy.
Yeah, he is.
Really bad boy. And just
Mhm.
as I know I would choose Donovan Mitchell over Halliburton, but that's neither here nor there. We could think of some more guys that could be in that list because, I think John
Right.
Morant has the talent for that list.
Yeah.
If he could get his head right,
Gotta
if
get
Zion
his head
can stay
right.
on the court, he'd be in that list.
Yeah.
Because
I
I haven't
agree.
seen anybody, period, Rick, get to the front of the rim like Zion Williamson. It's
Yeah.
just incredible to me. It's a whole different ball game that he plays. He can get
Yeah.
to the front of the rim at 6'7", 6'7", getting to the front of the rim like he did with all that weight. Man, he's got just a tremendous first step, and that weight and that girth makes him play taller. And he's got a excellent second jump. Not only the
Yeah.
first jump, but the great rebounders and great players have always been able to do that second jump quicker. Boy, that boy can go though, but he's never healthy. But when he's healthy,
Yeah.
woo, he's a load, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
I really like his game.
Hey, Ronnie,
So, yes, sir.
Mshinda's here.
Mshinda, yeah, he has his mic muted, but yeah, please join in, brother Mshinda. We always like to hear from you.
Yeah, I don't have much to say, I'm just listening. But
Yeah, we're gonna
I
make it brief today because the game is on. We all want to look at it, but it's not much to
well,
say at this level. But please,
yeah, I mean,
we always
I,
want to hear from you.
well,
Always.
I'm watching the game, so that's no big deal.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm peeping at it a little bit too.
yeah, But anyway, again, I give props to the teams that are in the playoffs that are made it this far. Of course, OKC, they demolished Minnesota, but I expected that. I have a different take on Minnesota. I mean, they got some
Mhm.
flashy players and all of that, but they wasn't seated too high going in the playoffs. Their production, I think, and again, I had projected Lakers and stuff like that because, of course, I'm a Laker fan by birth. But other than that, of course, I understood the shortcomings there. But moving forward with the current games, about 3 weeks ago, I picked, I said Indiana would win it. That was my selection after about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. After, of course, watching a few games and checking it out. Because my thing is, some of these players, I think we talked about this earlier, that some of these players don't have dog in them. You name some players that didn't have. They great players, they can shoot, but they're missing something. It's having that killer in them. Well, I'm looking at a team like Indiana, who are playing against the Knicks. And the Knicks, Brunson and all those guys, Cat, all those different players, they're up against the wall. So they playing balls to the wall. They gotta they to try to for their survival. Of course, they're gonna be burned out, but they got to play hard every game. The other team is but the point that they're playing against somebody like the Knicks, as far as matching up, I think it's bringing more dog out of Indiana. I think it's making them tougher. It's like a bully hitting
Absolutely.
you in your like a bully hitting you in your chest. Now you probably can whoop that dude, but you don't want no parts of him because he crazy and somebody gonna die. So I'm gonna try to ignore this fool. But after a while, but you keep messing with that dude, he gonna come out. He gonna go out the box, so he gonna come out of his shell, and he might he might let you know what time it is. So anyway, I think these bruisers, they got some guys on there on New York. They kind of roughneckish, like they playground. They played in the playground. They got something going on, but I think the Siakam and Neesmith and they got dudes on the bench and their defense is not too shabby. And that's what's going to be needed to slow LKC down. So that's my projection. I know OKC will be favored, but law of averages, I look at all kind of things. I mean, teams could be great and get upset. They can lose any on a given day. And so I think it's just going to be an interesting series because I want to see, if my thoughts come to fruition. I want to see that if these guys can actually bring that little dog that, like the Halliburton, holding his neck. They're telling guys that he choked and he hit that 2-pointer, thought it was a three, and almost choked himself. They pulled it out that one game. But the fact that he's making these gestures and and he's stepping up. He's like, hey, you guys, hey, he said, you, and I'm me. Like, we've arrived, we here. And so I think that in order to win, that's like Brunson. Brunson, man, I don't know how he reminds me of somebody. I can't think of it, but he scores when he wants at will, like when he needs to, for the most part. But I mean, but they might be behind to a point to where they can't come back. But Brunson is the one they be, either in foul trouble or whatever. But then he'll come back in and they give him the ball. Now we talk about Carl Anthony Towns. Now I haven't. Where has that been all season? This big dog that came out of him, where he looking like like a guard. He's out there just taking stuff to the hole, looking trying, like and what he's doing. I'm like, wait a minute now. If he continues to play like this and don't get hurt, because usually big guys like that who's trying to move and dart and do all those kind of things, man, you about to blow a wheel. You about, your body can't handle that trauma being that big like that. So, you take the guy in New Orleans over there, my boy, he's a big cat and, and he gets hurt, sometimes because he's just because of his moves and whatever. So I don't know if he can sustain, like the, back to old boy in New Orleans, what's his name? I'm not a
Zion.
big
Yeah,
Zion.
Zion.
I couldn't
Zion
think of his
Williams.
name. Yeah, Zion. I know. I just could. My mind wouldn't bring it to him. But Zion, I don't know if if he's gonna last the way he darts in and jams and stops on the dime and some of the acrobatic things that he produces. But and the quickness as a big man. But Carl Anthony Towns was surprising me. Like the man said earlier, it was like, wow, where? And I'm like, wait a minute, is I've never seen this in this guy like that. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't watch Carl Anthony Towns year round. I see him in games that he's in from time to time or whatever, and but not like that. Not this super killer. He like just took over, and I'm like, wait a minute, if he can do that along with Brunson, what he's doing, and like you said, they don't play major defense, but still they if they're playing like that, it could be hard to overcome these guys if they can sustain that level. I just don't think they will sustain that level. I think they'll get teams will get smart. Here come Towns like a freight train, and somebody's got to draw a charge because he's like out of control sometimes, just going slamming the ball against the backboard, but it goes in. Like, wait a minute, how did he make that? Like it was a layup, but it really was a bank shot, and it went in. He was doing incredible things. So I don't think they're able to sustain that. But on the other side of the coin, the fact that Indiana is being subjected to that, I think is prepping them for to go in there to be fearless and to go in there thinking that, hey, I'm the one. And so you got to have that. You got you got to feel that you're the champion, that you're going to win, and that type of thing. So I think that they're starting to feel that. And look, some of those like Neesmith and they're like the others, Miles and other ones are, they feel that, hey, you know what, we got a shot at this thing. And but it's definitely back on the flip side of the coin. Don't get me wrong, OKC won 68 games. So basically, what that's telling me, that's kind of a well-oiled machine. And once they get in the groove, and once that machine start rolling, and they start, all systems go, it's kind of hard to stop them dudes. They can get way ahead of you. But I'm thinking that the defense that I think Indiana has some defense. I think they possess some defense, and I think that they could slow them down, and I think can make some of those games close. And I'm just looking for a good series, man. And but I have no ill will. I have no ill feelings toward OKC. Like that's not one of my teams that I dislike. I don't, like, oh, I don't like them. I like them because they I like the type of dudes they have. The players, they don't they just playing basketball, and they play a good brand of basketball, and they can shoot for today's modern game. So that's all I have to contribute tonight, though.
As always, Brother Mshinda, we thank you for your coaching analysis and your words. You've been a stalwart on this CEN show, and man, to hear from you is always inspiring, to say the least.
Right on.
All good words by all you guys. We all have our thoughts and opinions, just like the experts do. But it's a bandwagon effect. I always say, who's the healthiest and who's playing the best, and not necessarily who's the best. Again, who's healthiest, who's playing the best, not necessarily the best team. Good luck, everybody left.
Yeah.
Anything final, Rick?
Well, actually, I just wanted to say just about everything, probably everything Mshinda said, I agree with. The whole Karl Anthony Towns thing. And like and I mentioned it last time that Indiana is, at least their big men are ready to play some D. Actually, you're playing against Jalen Brunson though, so I don't know. I saw a little lackness in the defense up top in the backcourt, but at the same time, Halliburton is one of the best to jump the passing lane I've ever seen. I mean, he'll get 3, 4, or 5 steals a game just by jumping passing lanes, which is a great thing. So he knows the floor well. I just not sure if he can stay in front of somebody.
Yeah.
But
he's actually he's actually the Pacers' poorest defender on ball.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why they never put him on the big one.
But like Brunson, he gives some effort. It's just like Luka doesn't give effort.
Yeah,
and that's unacceptable. They try, but they're just poor defenders.
right.
Exactly. Okay, guys. Well, we'll see you real soon. Go ahead.
Okay, for sure. I was just going to say, if Halliburton was a better defensive player, I don't think they get tracked down from a 20-point lead. So I think we've seen that.
Observation. And the same thing. It's not just Halliburton. Miles Turner is a good rim protector. He's not a particularly good defender.
No,
he
he's
can
not.
stay in front of you, but he doesn't have a lot of girth to him.
Right.
He's a good shot blocker, good rim protector, but not necessarily a good defender, post defender himself, and he's lousy in the pick and one. It's just, again, who's playing the best? Because both of these teams, it's a really good matchup when you think about it.
It really is.
It's really it's the perfect matchup. Two young upcoming teams. I'm always encouraged when new people are underdogs win. And these teams have won. Indiana last won in '73 when they were in the ABA. The Knicks last won in '73 in the NBA. So this is a historic thing. This is 50 years, a brand new champion.
Right.
And we've had new champions. Denver just won 2 years ago. So this is a good trend the NBA is on. And the old guys, the so-called superstars, are leaving it in good hands. I'm out, guys. What you got?
All right,
Indiana's 3-2 in the last 5 games.
Yeah.
Against OKC.
But 2-0 this year.
Yeah, 0-2 this year, 3 the last before.
Yeah, and
so
I saw them. I saw them 2 years ago, and they beat us in Oklahoma City, and it was one of the worst beatings we've gotten. They were all over us.
Yeah. So let's let's wish everybody stay healthy and watch some good basketball.
All right, peace.
There you go.